Well, hello again. So I just want to do a quick update on previous video that I had done. What you're looking at here is this is an official map from a local club where I ride, and there's some issues I had with it in that there's things on this app, or excuse me, on this map that are identified as open, but the club hasn't got around to adding it to the actual map for ride command. So what you can do is you can go into ride command because again, like I mentioned in my other videos, as an individual person, unless you are affiliated with a club and registered with Polaris, you cannot make changes to the ride command app. What you can do is you can add a route or a planned route, and then once you draw out that route, what that's going to let you do is you can show it on your map, and it'll blend basically your map edit or addition, which is really just a planned route, to the official map that the club has uploaded to Polaris. So that's what we're going to go through here, and I just had done a screen recording on this earlier, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch back over to this screen, and this is the same area that is not yet updated. So in particular, if you notice, there's the lake, and then coming out of the lake there's this County Highway F, and there's this light gray road that then runs up to those blue areas, which are other off-road trails. So the way it currently looks is what you'd have to do is you'd have to go all the way around to access this trail, but because the club had opened up and worked with the county to open up this county road, you can now actually travel on this county road and jump on the trail at this point. So what we want to do is we're going to add a new route that we can see on the map. So probably obvious, but let's go ahead and proceed with what that process looks like. So once we start zooming in here, what you can see is we're going to have to go back and look at the original map and just confirm we are where we think we are. So we're going to add that Green Lake Road, and we've confirmed that that is open, and we're going to now switch over to the rides on the bottom, and then on the top we had selected routes once you're there. And we're just going to click on plan. Once plan is up, you've got some options you can deal with here. For the most part, I just leave this as is. You can click on next, and it'll walk you through this process pretty well. There's just a few things I want to make sure you're aware of. So as it says on the bottom, you just tap where you want to start the route from. So what we can do is now just zoom in, and we can actually select, because we know F is already marked, we want to start from F, and we've clicked. From here, now all you have to do is click the start here, which is be your point number 1. And once you actually click on that start 1, let's see, what are we doing here? You want to make sure that snap trails, let me go back here a second. So, whoops, let's get that, come on. All right, so snap to trails. The way the snap to trails work is, if you're not aware, the Polaris app doesn't really know about the plotting of the roads. It only knows about the routes that have been added and the trails that have been added. So what that means is when you're actually doing this, what it can do is if you say, hey, I want to go follow this trail to this trail and then go to this route or road, which is marked on Polaris app as a trail, it'll snap to those, right? So as you're clicking along, it's going to actually follow the curves that are already predefined. That's not going to work on open field or a road that may exist that isn't already in Polaris. So hopefully that makes sense. So you have that snap trails on the top, and then you also have the tracked rides on the bottom. It's probably going to be better off if you're doing it to generate a new route is leave it as snap to trails as off. That's probably going to be the better way to go, right? Because then you can kind of freeform and say, yep, I want to go from this point to this point to this point. But because of this, if we're following a road, we're not going to be able to say this is where the trail starts and this is where it ends. You have to say, well, if you really want to be accurate, you've got to add little stop points along the way. So if you're doing this for planning a route on trails that already exist, yeah, in that case, you just say starting point, here's where we're going to end, and snap, and it's going to get you there totally fine. If there's places where the trail divides, yeah, also in that case, you're going to want to be a little more precise. But as you can see here, we're just having to pick and choose, and yep, this is exactly where I want you to follow, and it's going to get you close enough to there. So you just follow that process all the way along, and we'll speed this up. And now we've got pretty much all of it built. I also want to point out that you can see where we've got trail 3 and then this other one that goes, the blue line that goes to the top of the screen. The person that did the mapping from the club, they didn't use some best techniques there to follow the route. They probably did it on their phone, so I get it. If they're doing what I was doing, that's always going to be a problem. So it's close enough, but there are some tips. I'll give you another video if any of you do edit it for your local club. But once you've modified this route now, what you can do is you can swipe up from the bottom, or I think if you just tap it, it might work too, but you can now rename it. I like to just call it map edit. That way it keeps my edits to the map separate from actual routes that I've been shared or the ones that I've planned, just to make sure I don't accidentally delete those, because I find this really useful just to have these available. So once you have your route planned out, you can just go ahead and rename it. You can review the content. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can delete some of the nodes and recreate them. Turn on snapping on and off from here as well. But once you've got it created, just go ahead and click the save, and it'll save it. Now, again, only you are going to see this unless you share it with someone else, or if you've shared it with them, right? Then they can see it. But otherwise, this is unique to you. But it's going to give you the ability to add those additions to the map. And by the way, just for those that aren't aware, if you've never used the planned routes before, there's some other options that you can use there to do a fly overview and stuff like that, which we can talk about. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm just going to turn the planned rides off now, so you can see there's missing a lot of content. If I can go back to that, come on, behave for me. Once it's off, there we go. So you can see on the northwest side of the lake, there are nothing. That road, entire County Road F, is listed as not available. There's also some pockets on the bottom left of the map that aren't available. And then there's 2 routes from F, which is on that left side of the lake, northwest quadrant, to actually get to the blue trails. They don't exist. So because I had actually added all that content, now if we switch it back on, and again, there it's under the planned rides. There now you can see we've got all kinds of new information that we can leverage to actually do our planning and know where we can go, because we've personally modified our version of the map.